Battle of the Challengers podcast with Vincent Cloud
and Hardcore Dave.
Episode 14 of Invasion of the Champions.
Part 1 of the finale.
Entitled Math is Hard. And isn't it?
It is for some people, obviously.
Math is hard for me. That's all I gotta say. Especially with geometry, but we'll get into that.
I've noticed whenever I dog on someone for not getting a math-related puzzle, you seem to jump to their defense.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, come on,
no, it's easy.
Yeah, every time I'm like, you're making someone cry right now. I'm not going to say who it is. It's a friend of mine. You don't know him, but he's crying right now on the inside, and you're like, who is that? Secretly, it's me.
Oh, okay. The guy who can't figure out Sudoku.
I really don't. I mean, I understand the concept. I just never really sat down and put pen to paper and really try to figure it out. But let's get into the final. And really, we're going to be covering the first day of 3, right?
Yep.
And basically, I want to say we're going to be covering the second day as well. Because it's going to end on that cliffhanger where Camilla's all frustrated and shit. But it's like, beyond that, they're going to run to the beach, and then that's going to be the end of day 2.
Yeah, but we don't know what the end of day 2 is technically going to be, because they could have to, like, stay up all night, and it's not, like, when does that day really end?
TJ did say, when you come back here, your time will be stopped. But, yeah, there could be a twist, because, like, who the fuck knows what TJ has in mind, a.k.a. what the producers want to do that day.
They'll have random partners and have them stand on a log.
Yeah, I believe the producers have a big old wheel with just random twists written down. You know, one drunken...
It's like the Man Show with the Wheel of Destiny, and they spin it, and then it's like, oh shit, you know, it's like, oh, you gotta make out with this gross-looking 400-pound lady.
I want to ask you, which Man Show? The
Corolla, original with Corolla and Kimmel.
Not Rogan and Stanhope or whatever.
Yeah, wow, yeah. I can't believe you remember Stanhope's name. It's so obscure.
All right, so you're talking original.
Yeah, the Wheel of Destiny was great. It was like spin it. It was like, oh, you get your wallet peed on, and then Corolla just like starts pissing on the dude's wallet. Then he just hands it back to the guy because like it's covered in piss. The Wheel of Destiny, it'll fuck you over. But that's what the producers do to us, the viewers.
They do.
They spin the Wheel of Destiny. It lands on something shitty, and they're just like, well, all right, that's what you get.
Yeah, exactly, man.
It's like, no, you have the power to choose something cool and have a layout and just you can organize it so it's a good final. But instead it's solo, but they're in partners, so it's not solo.
Every day.
It's this randomness.
Yeah, but is it every day that there's a random... Or no, every day you choose your partner, so you have to work with every partner every day. But then the last portion of the last day is going to be individual, right? Something like
I would assume so.
Yeah.
But we don't know. Yeah, I would assume like the last leg or two is going to be solo.
But let me ask you this real quick. Are you impressed about what we're going to cover here? Do you think you're like, oh my God, clearly this could not be done in just 2 days. This had to be done 3 days. Motherfuck, 1 day worth of a final. This had to be 3 days. I would say no. Listen, we're going to be covering 3 puzzles.
Yep.
3 fucking puzzles. 2 puzzles in 1 day, and then another puzzle for day 2 or whatever. So I'm just like, clearly you guys are running out of steam here, the producers. Why are you putting this burden on yourselves to say, ooh, this is 3 days? Just stick with 2 or just go back to 1. You know what I mean? I don't know why they're putting this expectations on themselves.
3 days, I mean, it really means nothing. And if it means that we get more to the final, then I'm okay with that. And I'm okay with, like, more puzzles, more things to do. Everything they've done in, like, the final so far, I've been a fan of. The problem that I have with it is the random partners where, we have no idea as viewers who's going to win this final. And you know what? Ultimately, whoever does win it, I don't think it necessarily means that they were the best competitor because there's so many variables involved. There's so many different random partners, so many random events where they can't finish and then they have to go to the max allotted 30 minutes of it.
Oh, yeah.
So with all of that weird stuff compiling, and sometimes it's your fault, sometimes it's not your fault based on your partner, whoever wins this season, does it really matter? Because it doesn't necessarily mean that you won it by yourself.
No.
It was the same in the Free Agents finale, where it was supposed to be all about being solo, but then they added partners into it. And then the people who won, you're like, well, yeah, but there was this and this and this.
Yeah. I really don't have a problem with the pairing. I mean, it's not like I enjoy them being paired up every day with someone else. It's just I've accepted that fact. But the thing that bothers me, and we'll get into it later on, is that the puzzles are just like either A, we've seen this shit before, or B, that's pretty weak sauce. You know what I mean? But we'll get into that. All right, so let's start off with day one. The last time we saw the challenge, they had to swim, right?
Yep.
They had to swim to the fucking final
off their
and
little
shit.
platform boat.
They were paired
to the
off.
shore.
Yeah. Nelson was struggling with that, with the undercurrent or whatever it is, the wake. What would you call it?
Undercurrent, I think it's
something like that. Yeah. And but anyways, they're gonna swim, and then once they get to that beach, they just have to solve a puzzle. They get on a boat and go back to the yacht or whatever, and then solve another puzzle. So, but this first puzzle is what would you call it? Geometry. I mean, you have to count the triangle. You have to. Yeah, the triangles within the puzzle, right? Something like that.
I mean, it's just addition. It's not even geometry. Like, yeah, you have to count shapes.
I'm just saying that
so
because it's shapes.
Yeah, there's shapes involved, but you're really just counting. But you're just counting the triangles there.
Okay.
And there's, if I believe correctly, there's 5 on the bottom, and then a row of 4, and then a row of 3, and then 2, and then 1. And maybe there were 6 on the bottom, but it's pretty basic. You know, you count the total number of triangles, and then you start at the top again, and then you're like, okay, count those top 3, and then count the top 7, and then count the top 10, and then you do it from the sides, from each corner. I mean, Camilla thought it was pretty easy. She got through it right away.
Yeah, she did.
Because you had to figure out that total, which is 27, then you had to multiply it by 12, and that equaled 108. And that was the combination for the lock to get the key off.
Oh, that's right, yeah. So Camilla did a good job. CT just kind of stood there.
Yeah.
I guess math isn't his strong suit. I mean, this is technically a puzzle which CT's good at, but this is math. This is a math puzzle, right?
Yeah. But in like CT, he might have been able to do it, but Camilla did it so fast that CT didn't really need to apply himself. Camilla's just like, you know, within a minute, she's like, okay, this is it.
And then next is Nelson and Ashley. They solve it pretty well. Props to both of them. They're pretty good.
Well, right? Not to both of them. Like, Nelson didn't really offer anything there. It was all Ashley.
Right.
It was like, for the second one in a row, like, the girls were the dominant part of the team where they figured out the math part, and they've just... Like, Ashley is really smart. She's really good at puzzles. And she always says in her little interviews that she's good at puzzles, and she fucking backs it up. Like, props to Ashley.
Yeah. And you know, we were just saying, like, how, like, Nelson was, like, at the very end of the pack because he couldn't swim against the curtain shit, and they finished second. And not only second, but, like, really fucking close to Camilla and CT, because as soon as they finished their puzzle, you can see in the background, Camilla and CT are just kind of getting into their boat, getting ready to row to the yacht or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, they were like 15 feet into the water.
Yeah.
They like barely had even like hopped onto their little surfboard or whatever it is.
Yeah, so this is pretty fucking close. But
then we have the special ed class, which is Corey and Nicole.
Damn it. Yeah, Corey and Nicole, they struggle with this shit. This is the reason why this episode's called Math is Hard. You know, this is the big joke or whatever. Because they can't figure it out. And, you know, it's hard, right? I mean, well, Corey, I do like this. He's like, the triangles or whatever. Count the triangles. And he looks at the sign, and he starts counting the capital A's, or the A's anyways.
Yeah, the triangles inside of the letters. And, like, this idea to count those is completely ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. Yet, when Nicole hears this idea, she's like, let's do it. All right, I'll start counting them too. Yeah, there's 1, 2, and they're both counting them together. And I'm like, you two are the biggest couple of morons I've ever seen. But they were even like trying to like, hey, can we just take this whole puzzle board with the triangles on it? The key is attached to it.
Oh, that's
can
right.
we just bring the whole thing?
That's right.
And the producers are like, no, you need to solve it.
That's what, yeah, they were willing to fucking do that. But I do appreciate Corey's willingness to think outside of the box, because we all know a lot of the champions, that's how they think, right?
I guess, but like
Totally.
he's trying to think outside of a box when you do not need to think outside of the box. It's very cut and clear what you need to do. And even when they tell him the answer after like their time limit elapsed, he's like, they're like, it's 27. There's 27 triangles. He's like, well, yeah, but how did you get that? Like, tell me how you got. Well, I counted all the triangles. Like, did he even understand that you needed to like look at the triangles as more than singular? Like, you needed to group them in different pairs?
The producer even came up and was on camera and shit. She's like, oh god, this is awkward. But she's like, she pointed it out. She was like, yeah, this is a pure, And even then, Corey's like, yeah, but what do you mean? How do you mean by that? So like, really, Corey did not comprehend that. And I was like, yeah, I'll fucking rip on them. But at the same time, I'm like, I did not understand geometry. When it comes to shapes and a puzzle and math, I'm like, what do you mean? Like, what is it? Like, I don't get it. So I probably would have been right there. Yeah, that's fine.
I'm going to go out on a limb here.
That's fine. Dave, you and Camilla could have solved it, or actually Camilla would have solved it for you, and then you guys would have took off, right? Oh, yeah. But me and Nicole, we would have just stood there the whole time, just going, blah, 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 blah. We don't know what the fuck to do. Like,
I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say, I think that Hunter would have gotten this before Corey.
Oh, shit.
As bad as Hunter was at Sudoku, I think he could have done this. It's a stretch. There's no actual evidence to back it up.
That's an awkward stretch. That's a stretch mark on someone's belly.
I just feel like Corey did so bad at this. I'm like, there's no way Hunter couldn't have done this. I would have much rather had Hunter in this final.
Yeah? Wow. Yeah.
That's and when I look at Nicole, I'm like, you know what? I would have much rather had Amanda be there than Nicole.
Oh,
I think this final would have been way better with Hunter and Amanda, right?
Amanda? Oh, shit. Oh. My girl Amanda? Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
I mean, just for aesthetically speaking, freckle tits. Oh my god. Jesus Christ, that's not going to be edited out. Just so I can defend her. I'm like, that was Dave, not me, baby.
That's what
I wouldn't say that to you. Alright, well, the other thing is when Camilla and CT and Nelson and Ashley are rowing to the boat or yacht or whatever, we actually have a legitimate pop song playing on this challenge. Really? Green Day.
Really?
Bang Bang by Green Day. And I'm like, holy shit. I can't remember the last time they could afford a legitimate pop song on their show. When in the heyday of the challenge, like during the Gauntlet, Inferno, all that shit, Battle of the Seasons 1, they would actually have songs you could hear on the radio. That's because the challenge was actually popular back in the day. They would have more than just 800 views. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and MTV would actually play music back in those days.
No, it also has to do with the fact that okay, well, no, that's a good point. I'm wondering how they acquired these music songs for this.
Well, Green Day's on hard times. They haven't had like a decent, good release since 2005.
It's Green Day? Okay. Right? But there will be another pop song later on. So we'll get to that. We'll see how that pans out here. But, okay, so once the Camilla, CT, Nelson, Ashley. Once they get to that yacht or whatever the fuck it is,
there's another puzzle.
There's another puzzle.
With
but it's fucking
challenge.
lame. Yeah, but it's the challenge. Spell out the challenge. And you're like, this is the second puzzle in this 3-day finale, and I am completely underwhelmed.
I was okay with it because it was kind of just like, okay, yeah, you can just race back there and then call it time.
Right.
Yeah, just give them another puzzle to do. Don't make it impossibly hard. Make it something that's not math related to, help those slower.
I guess I'll accept that. I mean, this is basically day one of Rivals 2, if you remember, Dream Island. Because
Yep.
they had to swim to an island, solve a puzzle, then get onto a boat and go back to a yacht. But in this one, there's another puzzle. But the puzzle is like, as soon as they looked at it, they're like, oh, this is going to spell the challenge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was there was nothing challenging about this at all.
I'm glad that you brought up Dream Island, because on that one, what they did was the last place team was eliminated.
Yeah.
So that way, Jemmy and Camilla, they couldn't figure out that puzzle, so they were gone.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Maybe it would have been nice in this final if they would have just gotten rid of Corey and Nicole and be like, you know what? You can't cut it.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of felt that way too. I'm like, you know what? In terms of like multiple days and shit, how Rivals 2 stood out, at least the final, was that, you know, you have to get to day 2, otherwise you're gone. You're toast. You know what I mean? But it doesn't matter on this one. Okay, so anyways, on the second puzzle, they're trying to spell it out. Camilla and CT, they do it just fine.
Yep.
Ashley and Nelson, they do it just fine. But this is all about Camilla now, just being kind of bitchy. She's like, you know what? I feel like I did everything. I outswam CT. I did the puzzle all by myself. I feel like I just wasted CT as a partner, and I feel like shit about that, right?
Yeah. But there's kind of a legitimate gripe there, because she had the best partner, yet she did everything that she needed to do, and she could have done it without CT. She could have had Corey as a partner or something like that, where she's going to be able to kind of get help in stuff that she would struggle in. Yet instead, she had the best partner, and she didn't struggle with anything.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm going to keep on going back to this, because she's like, oh, I just like, you know, why even have a partner? I did everything. But eventually she's going to be like, well, I wish I had a partner for this to have my back. She goes from wishing that she never had a partner to like, oh, I wish my partner would help and shit. Like, choose a side, Camilla. I don't know. Camilla kind of rubs me the wrong way during this final.
What? Yeah, but it was... I get what you're saying, but it was just a product of her having a partner that was really good with tasks that were easy for her to accomplish, and then stuff that was tougher. Then she had Corey, and it was not a good... she didn't do well because she had a bad partner, and it's like, there's certain points where you need someone else to kind of pick up the slack.
Yeah.
But we do need to mention, once Corey and Nicole reach the time limit, the producers tell them how to add and divide, that they go out on their little surfboard, and they're like, paddles? Who needs paddles? And they just chuck them in the water.
We don't need no
Those
stinking
things
paddles.
are not biodegradable. They're just going to float out into the ocean, and, you know, some whale is going to choke on those things.
Another bleeding heart liberal here,
Come
fella.
on. There are dolphins and whales.
Smart dolphins, yeah.
And they're going to choke on those oars. They're going to think it's a seal swimming by the surface. And they're just like... Corey's like, I've gone surfing all the time. We just, you know, lay on the board and paddle with my hands.
That's true, that's
And it's
true.
like, yeah, because you're only trying to go like a couple hundred feet and then ride a wave. Like, you get a lot more traction with that oar.
That's true.
A lot more push.
I do have to say, on the yacht, or wherever the fuck it is, CT and Camilla do solve the puzzle just fine. And then Ashley and Nelson does. But then, so Ashley's like cheering. She's like, all right, I proved myself, or whatever, you know? And then Camilla's like, I feel like I smoked you on the swim, or whatever. And it's like, come on, this is the final. Usually people are like, yeah, we're all in this together, we're in the final, we're having a great time. But now Camilla's like, no, I swam faster than you, fuck off. And she's saying the same thing to fucking CT, you know? So right now, I'm just getting really annoyed by Camilla. When Corey and Nicole do time out, they get to the island, and we're going to have to deal with TJ being just as bitchy and annoying as Camilla, because as soon as they take 14 minutes to solve the puzzle, you know, to put together the challenge sign or whatever, and TJ looks at it, he's like, yeah, you got it. But that delivery, when I said, yeah, you got it, is filled with way more emotion and personality than TJ ever could have mustered out. He was just like, yeah, okay, you know, There you go. I can't even do his voice. But I'm like, TJ, like, fucking put some oomph into whatever it is. Like, why are you here?
Well, was he supposed to be proud of them for being in last place? Like, you can't be like,
who cares?
You got it.
Either way, someone was going to be in third place. You know what I mean? And sure, yeah, they took a long time with the puzzle.
To give shit to the last place team
it's not
to try
his
and
job
motivate
to
them.
No, that is his preference. That's what he wants to do. He doesn't need to do that. I don't know. Whatever.
I'm fine with it. Nicole and Corey did so terrible. Like, he took it easy on him.
But okay, all right. I'll give you that. So after all that, TJ says, "Hey, you know, you guys got first, you guys got second, and then you guys did bad or whatever." And he's like, "You know what? We should go back to the house, but I heard you guys don't like it there. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back to the shelter."
And finally, we've all been clamoring for more of the shelter, right? You've been wanting the shelter. I've been wanting the shelter. Yay!
Yeah, I'm like, show more pregnant dogs, or at least motherly dogs with big hanging teats and shit like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Just hanging around the shelter and shit.
There's no bathroom. There's no ceiling.
Yeah.
There's just broken wood and rusty nails everywhere. Like it's a shitty place to stay, I guess, but like there's nothing about it that was like, oh yay. They made it seem like it was this awesome thing that they're going to stay there, and it was like, no one gives a shit. Whatever. Just let them stay the night in the jungle. Who cares?
Here is when they're there though, they show up and they're like, oh, this is as worse as it was before, but there's like a pile of coconuts and whatever. But when they're there, in terms of the TV, there's a song playing by the Pretty Reckless. I don't know what it's called, but
you've heard of this band?
Yes, at least this song, anyways. It's been on the radio, just like that Green Day song. So I'm like, oh, wow, this is crazy. The ratings have been pretty low. I mean, I'm not gonna sugarcoat this shit, but it's been pretty low for the season. And in terms of the, it's definitely been dipping. But producers...
it's still twice the amount of ratings that Real World gets, so...
Okay, well, we could say that about anything. But the point
compared to their other shows, it's doing very well.
Yeah. I mean, well, they're going to come back for a 30th season. But that just means, like, MTV is like, well, what else do we have? We've tried new shows like... Alone with $1 Million or Stranded with $1 Million. You ever heard of that show?
Yeah, I've heard of it, but I have no idea what it is.
Exactly. So it's just like, so now MTV's like, I guess we're just gonna have to keep on putting these goddamn assholes like Johnny Bananas in front of a camera, and that'll be our views. You know what I mean? So whatever.
I mean, I can barely believe I even watched the challenge. So there's no way I'm going to watch other MTV programming. Like, they're barely holding me on to the challenge as it is.
Well, anyways, so they're all at the shelter, and eventually TJ shows up. It's around nighttime. He's like, hey, guess what? You guys are about to go to sleep, but before you do, before we start, before we get to end day one, we're going to have a little Time Buster challenge or whatever. Same partners, but you're going to have to take coconuts and crack them open and put them in the cylinder for a full fucking hour. And then whoever has the most...
It was an hour?
Yeah.
Wow.
Exactly. That's the one thing.
I didn't realize it was that long.
Where I'm like, you're cracking coconuts and you're milking them for all they're worth, but for an hour. This is part of the crazy 3-day final? It just seems just so underwhelming right now.
Really? I was so happy at this point.
What?
I'm like,
with what?
I was expecting them to have to stand in a log all night.
That's true.
Because that's what they always do. And then you take turns and the other person sleeps and then you can't sleep. And it's just like the sleep deprivation thing. And they've done that like on Bloodlines, on Rivals. Like they always do that. But I'm like, okay, yeah. Just bust open some coconuts, whoever wins it. And I'm like, and it's kind of like a random challenge where, I mean, the team who wins, it's not necessarily that they're better, I mean, I guess they did more, but you don't know the exact amount of water that's going to be in those coconuts.
That's true. It's random from coconut to coconut, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, but
so I was fine with it. Just the fact that it wasn't them standing on logs, it's passable in my mind.
But that's also us being like, well, thank God that our abusive husband didn't beat us up too much tonight. You know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of like,
but it's
oh,
better
God.
than a puzzle. There was too many puzzles
No,
already.
but that's exactly what you just said was like, it's better than this. We are, both of us, as viewers, as podcasters, whatever, we're just so used to getting beaten down by the most like, I guess. And now we're just like, yay! This is better than the alternative.
But what is your suggestion?
Bullshit.
Would you rather been another like an eating competition?
You can't just throw me under the bus saying like, oh well, what would you think of? I'm just saying this. Okay, this is bad. Okay, I will give you this. This is better than the sleep deprivation. That is totally true. But you're like, what we're gonna do for a full hour is crack coconuts and milk them for all they're worth. That is cheap as shit. There are coconuts all over this fucking island. You know what I mean? That felt weird. If anything, because there was a big old pile of coconuts, but they should have had to like climb the tree. You know what I mean? And grab the coconuts, or like CT would just like ram his head against the coconut tree and wait for the coconuts to fall down. You know what I mean? Something like that. Something fucking crazy and whatever, but now it's just like, milk these coconuts, please. Bust a nut. CT's like, I guess. Am I gonna get another fucking fatso or whatever out of this deal? You know?
So based off of other finales where you see them sit and ride on a stationary bicycle, and they're like, once you get to so many miles, then you can go to bed. Like, after watching stuff like that, where it's like, that's lame as hell, this was like, okay, it's better than that. It's better than the other shit they fed us, so I'm happy.
Alright, well, hopefully we could cover our black eyes with Maybelline. Because that's all we're saying right now. We're just like, oh, well, at least he didn't hit us too hard. You know? I just feel like the producers have really, like, done us dirty for season after season, finale after finale, where we're like, this is a little bit better. Yeah, I think I'm changing him. You know what I mean? Oh my god, all the feminists are like, you son of a bitch. We're gonna cut your dick off. Throw it out in the yard. Alright.
You're gonna throw it out the car window.
But the big thing about this Time Buster challenge is that the team that wins, they get to choose the guy and girl
that'll lose
and add 5 minutes. Yeah. Add 5 minutes to their final run, right?
Add 5 minutes, lose 5 minutes. Yeah, you're gonna penalize them 5 minutes.
So they're gonna start. They start off. I just have to say, I mean, like, what can you really say about this? It's just people cracking coconuts. Right?
Yeah, well, yeah. There's a spike on a log, and they're throwing the coconuts down, puncturing it. At first, you could see they're kind of just like poking a hole in it, but then they realize if you puncture it on both ends, it's kind of like shotgunning a beer, where you're letting, it's not pressurized, so that way you're able to get the water to flow out faster.
Oh yeah.
I will note that I was surprised that nobody impaled their hand on that spike. Because when they're throwing that coconut down, if they screw up, they could throw their hand right on there and just put that spike right through their hand.
Yeah.
I kind of thought that might be a possibility, but, there was nobody who had their hand wrapped.
Get the marks of Christ and shit.
Oh, wow. That'd be epic. Who would play the best Christ? Probably Nicole.
CT and his mighty beard.
No, Nicole with the long hair and the abs. Right? Nicole is the closest thing to Jesus Christ in this show.
Oh my god, yeah.
Like, looks-wise.
Yeah. I fucking rise 3 days later, fuckers. Call it Easter. I don't give a fuck. Chocolate Easter bunnies. Call it eggs.
How do you think I got out of this tomb? There was peanut butter on the other side.
Yeah, exactly. I had to grease myself and get through this tiny crack in the fucking wall. How did I grease myself? Peanut butter. If you ask me, was it creamy or was it fucking super chunky? Obviously, it was creamy. Chunky, you're gonna get stuck. No doubt. You know what I mean? So, whatever. But Corey and Nicole, exactly. Corey and Nicole, they win.
Yeah, because they're all brawn and no brains.
They went, they did horrible on the puzzle.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
This is the only thing that they can do really good at, because, like, okay, it's just basically endurance, throwing the coconuts down, milking them.
So they win.
And, Corey's been milking a lot of nuts this year with,
Jesus,
Kayla and Camilla.
Well,
Nicole,
I don't think
because Cara Maria and Laurel under her belt.
Oh my god.
They've been milking the coconuts a lot this year.
Yeah. So they win, and I'm like, okay, well, good for you. It's not like CT and Camilla won. So right now, I do like a final that is like a little bit back and forth. So that's cool.
Yeah.
So what do they do? Corey and Nicole have the chance to give 5 minutes to their competition. Corey, he's like, I'm gonna do the logical thing and give the guy who won previously, CT, you're gonna get 5 minutes or whatever. And CT is like, no, it makes sense. I would have done the same thing. Whoever won was gonna get the 5 minutes. It doesn't, it's like, he's like, yeah, I'm annoyed, but like whatever.
Because that's the only logical thing to do.
The
only logical thing to do is to put it towards the team in first place.
Oh, that word logic. It's a good word. It's to be cherished.
Because Nicole lacks some serious logic. I'm gonna put it towards Ashley.
Is it? Yeah. She instead of giving Camilla the 5 minutes, she gives it to Ashley, and she's like, because I'm gonna doesn't she say I'm gonna do this fair, right? Yeah. No R in fair. Fair. I'm gonna do this fair. I'm gonna give this to fucking Ashley because we haven't been getting along this whole fucking season, and I'm like, did they ever have like a burst out this season at all? Really? Like I didn't. I know
they haven't been friends, but I never kind of felt like they were enemies at any point.
Yeah,
maybe they were in some episode, but nothing significant.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of just like overall coolness points, at the end of every season, we like to give out like our own personal awards or whatever. And at this point, everyone is just working inch by inch. Like there's right now, it's like a fine tooth comb where I'm like, well, did you fuck up? Who was cooler at this and that? And right now, Nicole just totally fucking fucked up here, in my opinion. Right?
She pissed the bed Kayla style.
Oh my god, yes. And now
she was partners with Corey, and then shit went sour for her.
Okay.
Camilla's gonna be next. Watch out, Camilla.
Nicole says you're not gonna get first or second, right? But it's like, well then, does that mean you're gonna get second? Because clearly Camilla, who is a veteran, who is a champion, who
the odds-on favorite to win out of the women.
This is her third final overall. You know what I mean? Like, she's got experience. You're not going to give her that 5 minutes because you have some sort of personal vendetta that was never really shown on air to Ashley. Like, already that was total cool points just erased from the fucking chalkboard. You know what I mean?
Nicole just doesn't deserve to be there. Amanda needed to have gotten there. But somehow Nicole
I would have loved
that.
I would have loved that.
Look, Amanda's so much smarter than Nicole.
Oh, yeah.
Like, she would have done so much better in all this stuff. It's a stupid decision, and ultimately it makes it seem like Nicole is just fighting for second place and not for first.
Exactly.
And this is a final. And, like, I don't remember what the money payouts are, but first and second second and third don't get shit.
It's a huge
it's
drop.
all for first.
Yeah.
Like, second place, you don't really get anything. In third place, you don't really get anything.
I don't remember, but it wasn't impressive enough to remember.
Or to write down place is like 10,000 or something.
Yeah.
And then second place was like 15 or something. Like, it was not that much more than third. Like, you need to get first.
Ridiculous. But, so, towards the end of this day one, they're just back in the shelter, and Corey is there right next to Camilla.
Yeah,
Camilla's
playing the bongos on her butt.
Oh my god, that was awesome.
I know.
I kind of forgot that I kind of feel annoyed by Camilla, but I'm like, yeah, man, play those bongos. Matthew McConaughey style on the beach and shit. So that was kind of cool.
I really like Camilla this season. And she's looking good this season. She's not looked good in a long time.
You
Good for
do,
her.
but it's just like I feel like you're falling into the trap of like whoever was left. I don't want to say whoever won the champions team. Whoever was left was obviously going to get that push. You know what I mean? Imagine if Zach...
Not necessarily.
No?
Not for the women, because Cara Maria, if she would have gotten to the end... Like, Cara Maria is just... She's been bland for, like, 3 years now. If she doesn't have Abram there, Cara Maria is boring as hell. And Laurel, like, as good as she is as a competitor, personality-wise, she's never been...
You shut your mouth. Laurel is amazing. Are you... Really?
Laurel's great, but not personality-wise. She's kind of abrasive, and half the time she talks to the camera, she's, like, monotone and has no personality.
Okay, but Camilla, as the episode goes on, she's just like, oh, well, I was better than CT. And then when Ashley finishes her puzzle, she's like, yeah, well, you kind of shit the bed on the swim. And then when she's with Corey, she's like, oh, he's no good. And she's going to have all these excuses. She's going to just keep on... She's the queen of spin. It's kind of bananas in a
I was
way,
just going to say she's learned a lot from bananas. And it's called hedging your bets. Where you're like, you know what? Just in case shit goes sour, I have a fallback reason as to why it doesn't go well.
Yeah.
And plenty of people do it. And Camilla's doing it here. But I'm okay with it. Because ultimately, like, whoever wins this, whether it is Ashley or Camilla... It's not going to be Nicole. We all know that, right? There's no way Nicole can win this. But Ashley or Camilla, like, whoever wins it, it's going to be kind of debatable and questionable just based off of the weird pairings and the luck of the draw and what types of challenges you have to do when you're with a certain partner.
I want to say right now that I'm pretty sure Camilla wins. Why? Because all her confessionals... she gets to sit on this fucking chair, like a throne-like chair.
She's like Khaleesi.
No one,
a Mexican Khaleesi.
Brazilian. She's Brazilian.
Yeah.
She. Well, anyways, no one else is sitting, doing their confessional on a fucking throne-like chair. Just Camilla. Where I'm like, God damn it, you're gonna win, aren't you? You know what I mean?
Sometimes Camilla's been sitting on that chair for like 6 episodes now.
Yeah, but like sometimes, really?
I feel like it. At least 5.
So I might be off. But I'm just saying, for the most part, you could sometimes tell who's gonna win, especially when it comes to the girls, because they're kind of like done up a little bit more. They got like a little bit more like makeup on and shit like that. You're like, oh god.
Except for Nicole, she's never putting any ounce of effort into her appearance.
I don't put anything on my face except for Laurel.
I just want to get back to my girl.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I just really think that Camilla's going to win. I don't know. I don't want her...
Based off of everything I've seen from, like, this day of the final, like, Ashley looks like she could definitely beat her.
Yeah, she could. I'm just saying, like... I do remember, sometimes you could tell through the confessionals. Like, I remember on Battle of the Exes 2, I just knew Sarah was going to win. You know what I mean? Just the way that she sat there, just, like, explaining, like, yeah, and then I betrayed these people like this, and whatever. I don't know. Okay, let's get to day 2 of this epic 3-day final, right?
I like how you roll your eyes when you say epic.
Yeah. For those of you who are just listening, I rolled my eyes and also did air quotes.
Epic.
The next morning...
TJ said it was epic, so it must be epic.
Yeah, TJ. The BMX legend himself.
Yeah, so, TJ, he wakes up, from his sweet hotel suite.
Yeah, he's like, oh my god.
Sweet hotel suite.
Oh,
yeah,
that was some damn shit, brah.
They put him in a chopper, they fly him out there to the slums or to the shelter.
Yeah, exactly. And he shows up and he's like, hey, guess what? This is day 2. New partners, right? And what you're going to do is you're going to run a mile into the jungle, grab a chariot basically full of weights, and then you're going to go and do a couple things like eat food, do a rope
kind of a balancing thing where you have to go a certain distance.
Obstacle course.
Yeah.
And then swim through a pond, get some pieces, and then do a puzzle. And then you run back to the shelter, and then we're going to stop your time. So this starts off, and it's great. Nelson and Nicole actually just jet they get to the food portion way before the other group.
Yeah, and
Right?
like I expected that immediately because I'm like Nelson
Good on
probably
Nelson, though.
has the most speed. And they said it was like a mile long. A mile is not long enough where you need to pace yourself. Like if it was 5 miles, then maybe pace yourself. 1 mile, just sprint it all out. You'll be fine.
Okay.
And Nicole's in shape too. I
Yeah.
mean, she's had to have probably had some physical training tests for police academy or firefighter or whatever the hell she is.
Oh, for sure. Probably working for those for the protests, Black Lives Matter protests, right? She had to put on the gas mask and wear the shield and shit. And, the nightstick, hold the nightstick, maybe the taser and shit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, fucking cops.
And all the women's marches,
No,
she.
they actually don't interfere too much on the women's marches because they're like a lot of white people.
Oh, yeah.
So, no.
Oh yeah, if there's black people protesting, there's tons of violence. Like cops are beating up black people. When women are protesting, the cops are just like, "No, they're good. We can't hit chicks.
Yeah.
We know that's a boo boo."
Okay, so they go. I actually kind of like this. They go into this cave to eat the shit, but the cave is kind of cool looking.
Yeah.
I like the cave. It was kind of
Do
cool.
you remember the cave that was there on the show Lost?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Which season? When was that?
Well, maybe like the first or second one. I think it was the first season of Lost.
I only watched
They go to
like,
a
the first two
cave
seasons
because it was near like the creek or something, and they could
Okay.
get water.
Okay.
But I don't even know why I'm bringing up the show. Other than the fact that this cave was cooler looking than the one on Lost.
It was
Like this,
super cool.
yeah, like the rocks in it were really awesome looking.
A lot of stalactites and stalagmites, mind
Wow.
you.
I didn't even know that was a word, but it sounds vaguely familiar. That's awesome. I didn't know you were a geologist.
But in the middle of all that is a table, and it's 4 plates for each team,
Yep.
right? Pond snails, grasshoppers or crickets. Is it the same thing? I think it might be, right? Horse urine on fermented eggs, which is fucking... It's like you're going out of your way to be disgusting, or we're being completely racist, and that's like a fucking delicacy in Taiwan, right?
How is that
Or
racist?
Thailand, I mean.
Racist against horses? Or
No.
Taiwanese people?
No. Right, racist is in like, oh, that's disgusting. Oh, no, maybe it's not racist. Maybe prejudice. Just being closed-minded, maybe. Maybe not racist.
You're grasping at straws here.
Grasping at grasshoppers, if anything.
Yeah.
And then finally silkworms.
Snails or
Silkworms.
Yeah.
Silkworms, what are they? Just like maggot stuff?
That's what, yeah, that's what like Timon and Pumbaa ate on The Lion King.
Ah, okay. Oh, now you got my attention. Yeah, they should have wrote that on the sign. Like Lion King.
Exactly. The
Pecans with a very pleasant crunch. Yeah. Well, anyways, each team, each member, each partner, whatever, has to eat 2 plates each, and it's kind of gross. It is, right?
Yeah.
But we're not really given the whole the throw up montage and shit.
Just
which
Corey
is
threw up a
fine.
lot.
Yeah, Corey
I think
did.
Corey was the only one that we saw throw up a lot. I'm sure other people threw up. I'm just kind of... But it did seem to kind of focus on Corey throwing up the most.
Yeah, Nicole, like we were saying before, Nelson and Nicole got there first, and they actually finished first. CT and Ashley got there second. They finished second. But Camilla and Corey, Camilla finished pretty close to everyone else, but now she has to wait for Corey
Yeah.
to finish his plates.
And that's kind of starts Camilla getting a little annoyed at her partner.
Yeah. And, Corey, he struggles. He starts throwing up or whatever. But eventually he does finish it. And then they start to pull the, I want to call it a chariot. It's not a chariot, but
It's
whatever.
basically... Yeah, it's a cart, but it's kind of a chariot.
Yeah. And they got to put the weights on. But Corey starts to struggle. And eventually, CT and Nelson, they fucking pull the chariot. And the girls kind of follow behind. But Corey, he struggles with it, and Camilla's like, I'll fucking pull it then. It's kind of cool. That is the one cool part for Camilla. Put that shit on the board. Yeah. There's that. There's that, right?
Not the fact that she like dominated that math puzzle and did it way faster than CT, and CT is arguably like the second or third smartest person there. She did that math immediately.
Yeah, okay, whatever. I mean, you know.
But like Camilla doing that and like pulling the cart, it was kind of reminiscent to was the Bloodlines finale where Cara Maria like picks up the heavier backpack from Jamie. And she's like, oh, whatever. And, like, Cara Maria's like, yeah, I'm just going to carry this and do the run. Like, I'm going to carry the weight. And it was kind of like that, you know?
That's true. Yeah.
Good for her. You know what? Because, hey, maybe we need a Battle of the Sexes season because some of these chicks, like Ashley and Camilla, they're smarter than the dudes at puzzles. At times, they have more mental toughness. They seem to have more physical strength.
They could give birth. And guys bitch and complain when they have a fever, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, so
and women can cook dinner. And they can
and if they burn it, oh my god!
Oh.
Well, anyways, so everyone's running to the next thing, and now we come to the rope challenge, right? CT and Ashley? No. It's Nelson and Nicole, right? They get to this rope challenge balance thing or whatever, and it's hard, it's difficult, but they're able to make it, right? Now, you were just within the week, 7 days ago or whatever, you did something similar, am I correct?
Yeah, I was in the Wisconsin Dells, and there was like a weird like obstacle course type thing with lots of ropes and stuff, and you're like harnessed up just like they are in the challenge. So if you fall, you're not going to die.
But you're harnessed up too.
Yeah, so you're like up high, like 20 feet above the ground, and then you're balancing on a rope, and then you have ropes that are dangling, and then you need to make it across the gap. Now, what they were doing was way further than what I did, but there is kind of a strategy and balance to it. And Nelson and Nicole really seemed to figure it out, and they did it well, but the other teams didn't, and they couldn't do it. Like, you need to really, the rope that is hanging above you, when you pull on it, yeah, there's a lot of slack, and it moves, but you need to pull on it as much as you can, get all the slack out of it, get your arms as high above you as you can, to get as much of your own weight off of the rope below you and onto that rope above you, so that way you can scoot across and just use up your upper body strength.
Yeah.
But we, like, with CT, you can see, like, his elbows are bent, he's bent at the knees, and he's wobbling back and forth, and he's like, oh, my forearms are spent. Like, CT couldn't do it, and that was disappointing to me.
He described it as walking on a bungee cord, holding on to bungee cords. So really, how you described it, yeah, you had to get rid of as much slack as possible. Is that how? Is that
yeah?
Probably word
and like the bungee cords you're holding onto, they become less of bungee cords if you pull all the slack out of it.
Yeah.
And get as much of your weight on it as possible.
But
it is way more super difficult to do it with a partner, and you're kind of trying to pass them a rope and hold on to a rope themselves. And you know what? Props to Nelson and Nicole for doing it, because they did that race out there to the eating competition. They got there first. That was kind of a physical thing. Eating is somewhat of a physical thing.
Yeah. And
then they did this rope thing, and that was physical. Like, that's all, like, that Nicole has to offer. Nelson's smarter than Nicole. So, like, Nelson can do a little bit with puzzles. But for these physical things, like, that's a really good pairing for Nelson and Nicole to help them help their time.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, anyways, CT and Ashley, they try this, and CT ends up falling off. And CT, while he was up there, he's like, I don't know how long I could have my fat ass up there. And our friend DJ Matty Nice, well, when he and I were watching the episode to write down notes and shit, he was just like, CT, he looks a little pudgy. He looks like he's sporting the dad bod. And I'm like, I think he might be. And this is the first. CT usually shows up, just like, despite his age, despite how many times he's been around here and whatever, he's a force to be reckoned with. And right now, I'm just like, God, I'm not feeling that same thing right now. You know what I mean?
Physically, it doesn't seem like CT has the endurance or quite the strength and stability to do this stuff.
His first time on the rope, before he fell, he was just like, my forearms are killing me. You know what I mean? And he ends up falling. They get up on the rope a second time. They're going, and CT ends up falling again. And they're lying there on the ground, and CT's like, okay, you know what? I think that we might have to just take the maximum limit, which is like 30 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy shit, because he was just given 5 extra minutes on his time anyways, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So it sets him back for sure, a lot. And one thing I do want to mention is that CT wasn't able to do it. CT is the only champion remaining.
Yeah.
And I truly believe that Bananas probably could have done it, and I think Darrell could have done it.
Oh, shit.
couldn't
Why
do it.
necessarily?
Why?
Because CT is kind of soft in the middle.
Bananas is his game for all of that type of balance stuff. Like, he always does very well with that stuff. And then Darrell, I feel he's the same way.
Yeah,
he's very athletic. I feel
Still,
like both of them
just
could have
the
done
shock that CT did fall twice.
And it was weird because I thought the fact that CT is so tall that would give him an advantage doesn't seem to help him at all, which is weird.
Actually, was saying that because CT's so big and they're on a bungee cord anyways, that every time he took a step, it was just kind of like flipping it up and down. So Ashley was just like basically trying to stay on balance of a trampoline, right? Just bouncing up and down. So anyways, eventually CT's like, okay, let's just take 30 minutes or whatever. So they take off for the next thing. Corey and Camilla get there, and they try it. They're doing pretty fucking good, but it's Camilla that falls down, right? Yeah. And Camilla says, okay, we can either do this, or if you don't want to, we don't have to. And I feel right at that moment, because, eventually Corey does say, yeah, let's just take the 30-minute penalty or whatever. I'm like, Camilla, you didn't have to give that option at all. You could have said, hey, let's do it again. Because they were standing there watching CT and Ashley do it twice. They could have tried it another time. It's not like Corey didn't have any strength left. It was Camilla that fell, right?
Yeah, she did fall, but I don't necessarily... It's kind of a teamwork thing. I don't feel like...
So, did she assume that she would fall again? You know what I mean? Because she could have said, hey, Corey, all right, let's go back up. Instead, she gave the option. Let's do it again, or we could give the 30-minute time limit.
I feel like Corey could have easily fallen the second time.
Yeah?
Because I don't feel like he's...
No, Corey never fell. It was Camilla that fell.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, physical-wise, like, Corey could have easily fallen the second time, because, I don't know, he's not, like, the most coordinated person, or at least, they look like they were
just fine. He was doing just fine.
Yeah, but they're working as a team up there. I think the biggest takeaway is kind of what you're saying, where she asked him, do you just want to take the 30-minute time limit? Where it seemed like Camilla was kind of deflecting and trying to put some blame for a failure on a partner.
Yes, because this whole time Camilla's like, oh, I'm so much better than CT at this or whatever. And, she keeps on saying like, oh, if only I was by myself. But she gave Corey that option. And Corey said, okay. So, yeah. So let's just mark that down. So they take the 30-minute maximum whatever, just the same as CT and Ashley, which is crazy to me. I didn't expect both of these teams to do that. Not only did CT suggest that, but so did Camilla suggest that. You know what I mean? Two champions, right? All right, so now at the Jungle Pond, Nelson and Nicole, they get to there, and they get into the waters, and... Nelson was like, I don't know if there's like fucking piranhas and alligators in here or whatever.
Yeah.
There's not going to be any of that shit, right? You're just going to jump into the water.
There can definitely be water snakes in there, yeah.
Water snakes?
Oh, yeah.
Really? Do you think so?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, there wasn't.
You're in
It
Thailand.
wasn't.
There's some.
Yeah, but
they were there. They just didn't get bit.
The only time that any sort of animal or, the environment, nature, bit someone in the ass was the Gauntlet 1, when a spider bit Coral. You know what I mean? That was the only fucking time.
Until this season when, what's-her-name almost got bit by a freaking monkey.
Who did? Right.
Latoya?
Yeah, that thing.
Yeah,
no,
that monkey was terrifying.
He wasn't gonna
It would have
bite.
bitten her weave
He
off,
would
man.
have just either jerked off or threw poo. He wasn't gonna fucking
No,
bite.
he was right there. He's ready to pounce
Yeah.
on her shoulders and like bite an ear off.
Throw a barrel, maybe.
It was.
I didn't think he
It was like
gonna
a
fight.
Mike Tyson situation. He was bite the ear right off. Latoya would have been jacked.
All right. Well,
But
Nelson.
Nicole, her brilliant idea is to take her shoes off. She's like, "Hang on, let me take my shoes off." And I'm like, "We're about to get in a weird river or creek or whatever. You don't know if there's sharp
I
rocks
would
in the bottom.
preferred my
You
shoes
don't know
on
if
too.
there's coral
Yeah.
down there. Like, don't
Coral. Oh my god. She's like,
Literally.
the spider bit me and I'm still underneath.
I'm not gassing out, I swear.
Yeah. Where's Mike the Miz? And we're like, Mike the Miz is currently a wrestler now, and I don't think he's going back to the challenge anytime soon. Thank you very much, Coral. She's like, all right. Well,
It would
thanks
be
for answering
great
my
if
question.
Mike the Miz was on, the challenge season 25 or 29.5. What
the mid-season or whatever?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Champs versus pros.
Yeah,
The
man.
Miz should have been on there.
Pros, as in like
Professional.
literal pros, like literary pros and shit, like a poem. Champions have to write like literary
No, I
prose.
guess like Olympic pros.
Oh,
Olympically.
like the
skateboard or
UFC
snowboard.
CM Punk,
Yeah.
CM Punk. The only non-Olympic. Basically, everyone's okay. Whatever. We're getting off track.
Wait, is Banana's girlfriend? Is she cast on there?
Oh my god, that would have been perfect.
She
No,
was an
she's
Olympic
not. though.
snowboarder.
Yeah, she was.
Why
Yeah,
not?
yeah, that. Maybe she's just like, he fucked over Sarah, so he's gonna sleep on the couch of his own house that Sarah's money bought or whatever. I don't know. Right?
I'll buy it.
So Nelson and Nicole, they get the block. It's fine. Then followed by CT and Ashley. It's fine. They get the block. They have to swim to that river and shit. So then they finally get to
They start putting the puzzle.
the
together.
other puzzle. Yet
they
another
have-
puzzle.
They have like 2 posts on the ground, and then the post that is on your cart.
No, there's a bunch of posts. This is
So is there
basically
4 total or
remember
3?
Rivals 1. No, there's
with
a bunch
Caitlyn
of
and
posts.
Sarah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then on Battle of the Seasons 1, that was that was the final puzzle of all time, where you had to like was it like a bigger piece can't go over a smaller piece
Yep.
or something like that, right? And so it's like, okay, well,
But there's
I'm
not a
familiar with
bunch
this.
of posts. There's like only 3 there, I believe. Because if there's more than that, then it's not even a puzzle. Then it's easy. You just spread them out, and then you're able to just stack them. I think there's just there's 2 on the ground, 1 in front of the other. One of them is the far right post, but it's really only to the right, like maybe 1 foot. Like it's barely to the right.
Yeah.
Like it's barely even noticeable when they show it. So it's like there's a post on the cart, and the 2 other ones, I believe.
Well, Nelson and Nicole get there first, but it's great because Ashley, I remember back when Nicole gave Ashley that 5 minutes, she's like, you know what? Clearly, she's not using her mind on these puzzles or using her mind in terms of the Time Buster. And, all we gotta pray is that the Challenge Gods gives us plenty of puzzles where Nicole is going to be rendered obsolete, and that's exactly what happens.
One of the greatest lines of this episode, and Ashley was 100% right.
Yes, because CT and Ashley, they catch up to Nelson and Nicole, and CT, he's good at puzzles anyways, typically, you know. So they get that first, and they take off towards the ending, right? And then finally, Nelson and Nicole, they figure it out. They take off. Camilla and Corey, they get there, they're trying to figure it out, and they believe that they figure out the puzzle. they're like, okay, this is the sequence in which things have to land and shit, and they figure it out, quote unquote. And then they're getting ready to
Producers are like,
run.
whoa, we didn't clear you.
Yeah, we didn't
Get
clear
back here.
you. Yeah. And what is it?
They were supposed to put it on the far right. It said on the sign they're supposed to stack them on the far right one.
Yeah.
And they didn't. They did it on the one that was slightly to the left or whatever, and in front of the other one.
No, I think they finished on the. Yeah, whatever. It's just.
Yeah, they finished on the wrong pole.
It was tragic and hilarious at the same time.
Yeah. And it was part of it. I think was kind of frustration from Camilla to not notice it. Like Camilla should have noticed it because she is the brains. But you are expecting Camilla to notice everything and do everything right. Because prior to them getting there, when they decided to take the 30-minute time limit, they're like, okay, let's just go. Corey starts running for the cart and taking off, and Camilla's like, hey, hold up. We gotta get the puzzle pieces and bring them with us. Corey was gonna leave without them. Camilla's constantly had to, like, hold Corey's hand and be like, come on, do it the right way. And eventually, like, when she doesn't do that, this shit happens. Like, when Camilla let it slip, like, but, like, what has Corey done to frickin' help any of his partners? He couldn't help Nicole do anything. He couldn't help Camilla do anything. Like,
it's really just nothing but
Corey's
puzzles.
looked terrible.
I mean,
so, he was throwing up in the eating thing. Like, Nelson was like, oh, these crickets are deep fried. I can eat this. And Nelson just mowed it down. Corey couldn't do that. Corey looked terrible. Out of everyone, Corey looked the worst.
Well, we got a whole another episode with them, and we'll see how it fucking pans out.
So
but
what are the matchups for this next one? We're going to have CT and Nicole. We're going to have Corey and Ashley, right? Corey and Ashley.
Which they should have been together
Camilla
the
and
time.
Nelson. Camilla and Nelson could be a really good team.
Yeah, exactly. So that could be the time. Yeah, CT and Nicole. It'll be good if it's just straight up physical shit, right?
Possibly.
Yeah.
But CT does not quite have the endurance that he once used to.
No. Like I was saying, DJ Monday Nights, he was watching this and he's like, CT looks a little pudgier. He's got the dad bod or whatever. And I'm like, oh shit, he kind of does. But I'm like, well, maybe that's just a bod, but like the mental or whatever. But CT, he fell twice, and then he's like, you know what? Let's just take the time limit or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
So.
Well, sometimes you got to do something that you can't do, and you just, hey, we'll save ourselves for later.
Yeah.
And have confidence in yourself that, hey, I'll be able to make it up later. Yeah. And you know what? I think that little snippet of Ashley saying, hopefully the challenge gods give us lots more puzzles, that's probably going to happen, because day 3 will probably just be a hell of a lot more puzzles. And in those puzzles, Camilla will be able to rise to the top, and CT will be able to rise to the top. Because I have no doubt that the way the producers are setting up this final, they want Camilla and CT to win, probably, because they're the champs.
They don't want to promote anyone new?
No.
In the show? No.
They do to a certain point, but they don't want to necessarily give them the shine of actually accomplishing it. But, like, after everything I've seen, I think it's going to really, really suck if Ashley doesn't win. Because Ashley has done so awesome.
Yeah, I just want to say, like, I want Ashley to win. I'm really not rooting for Nicole or Camilla necessarily. I mean, it's whatever. It is what it is. In terms of the guys, I wouldn't mind if any of them won. Really, like
Corey's like terrible.
Yeah. Corey just kind of.
Like, I'm fine with Nelson winning, because I would like CT to win, because he's CT, and I've seen him so much. And Nelson, I've never quite, like, gotten on the Nelson bandwagon, but he's done well this season, and it's like, there's not a whole lot to complain about. And when Ashley was throwing her temper tantrum the episode before, Nelson kind of owned her, and I appreciated him for that. So, like, if Nelson and Ashley won, I think it would be amazing.
We forgot to mention, as soon as Camilla and Corey realized that they fucked up on the puzzle, Camilla just was like taking her gloves off. Like, are they just gonna forfeit and just take like another time limit or time adage or whatever, you know? But that was the end of the episode. There was no to be continued. There was no dramatic anything really. It was just kind of like, oh, that kind of sucks for you guys. So we're gonna cut to the next episode is going to be the end of that day 2, and then we'll have day 3, and we'll see who fucking wins this fucking kaleidoscope of bizarreness.
Is Corey and Camilla, are they going to actually finish that block?
I have no idea. It really didn't look like they were going to attempt at all.
So maybe they'll take the time limit there?
They might.
And you know what? Here's my bold prediction for the next episode.
Okay.
Perhaps Camilla ends up beating Ashley because Nicole was stupid enough to give the 5 minutes to Ashley and not Camilla. Because Ashley might actually end up beating Camilla in the long run of this final, but those 5 minutes that Nicole relegated to Ashley are going to end up screwing Ashley over, and Camilla will win under questionable circumstances just because of 5 minutes.
With a little asterisk next to that win. All right. That was the end of the episode, and I guess we'll just tune in for next episode, and hopefully this will pick up and be even cooler than these first 2 days. Honestly, these first 2 days of a 3-day final, I'm like kind of underwhelmed. I'm like, well, I've seen this sort of shit. I've seen eating. I've seen puzzles. In fact, I've seen free puzzles. You know what I mean? Typically, there's one puzzle per final, and we have 3. You know what I mean?
That's just so far.
Yeah.
And you know what? Like later, like in this night, once they're done with that puzzle, they'll probably have another puzzle before they go to bed or something like that.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's it.
Yep. That's it.
Like, comment, subscribe. This is Vincent Cloud, and this is Battle of Challenge podcast.
This is Hardcore Dave, and you've just been served.